Hey everybody, welcome back to G-Dub's Point of View. I am your host G-Dub. We are here for day 13 of the G1 tournament. Of course, this is the 7th night of A block action. Overall, I think the night was pretty good. I think every match kind of really served its purpose, which is good, especially now that it's coming down to the end, and all the stories are starting to get fleshed out. This is definitely when everything starts to shape up and everybody starts to get a little bit more on their A game towards the end. So overall, I thought the night was really good. I don't think I ended up watching. I watched like the opening of the Ishii Kenny match and them just going at it, but other than that, I didn't watch any other of the tag matches. So we'll just get right into the tournament action. The first match was Michael Elgin versus Bad Luck Fale. I actually really liked this match. I liked the opening where they had a nice stare down where they're kind of like shoving each other's faces, disrespecting each other. I thought it was good. Showed that both of them are little shits that that will just get their power over any way they can. Of course, at the only point, Loa tries to trip up Elgin, and Elgin ends up hitting a suicide dive on him and takes him out for most of the match. And then, of course, they just start brawling on the outside. And then, of course, Fale had a good target in Elgin's arm that got injured, I think, 2 matches ago for him. And he really went after the arm, which is, good focus on it. Of course, Elgin sold it great throughout. He's doing a lot of offense with his left arm. If he does it with his right arm, he's always shaking it. He's even running the ropes differently to not put any pressure on the right arm, which I think is just such a small thing to actually watch, but it's really important to the art of actually just selling the injury. So it was really well done. Elgin was super over during the match. He was getting insanely loud chants for him, which was nice to hear. I think it came down to also no one wanting Fale to actually get the win, but he was super over. And because of the suicide dive early, Loa actually, there wasn't as many shenanigans as there usually are. I think it came down to, Elgin hits the suicide dive early, and then Loa's knocked out and doesn't really interfere until the end. Of course, there's a ref bump. Loa comes in, attacks Elgin. He fights him off, and then he's going for like a big elbow drop or a big splash, and Tama comes running down the ramp with a chair and just swipes at Elgin, knocks him off the top, and then gets to the ring and starts beating him down. The ref calls for the DQ. So, it's the DQ finish. It's kind of whatever. It's at least there's some variety of Tama already having the chair and just sprinting down and hitting Elgin off the top with it. Of course, with that loss, Fale is eliminated from contention, but obviously he doesn't care. They beat up Elgin for quite some time after the match. That might have been my only problem with the match, is afterwards they beat him up for so long that Elgin stopped selling getting beat up at a point. He just started rolling around, and they would kick him, and even Tama would hit him with a chair, and he just wouldn't move. He'd just keep rolling in whatever direction he was moving. Which I'm like, at that point, it's like, is that a personal thing, or is one of them being a shit, or where the other one just isn't going to take it anymore? Where Elgin was, Tama was supposed to hit him, and then Elgin said, all right, yeah, just hit me 2 or 3 times, and then Tama kept going at it, so he just got tired of it at one point, or what? That was really awkward, because you could tell Elgin did not want to sell for those attacks, and Tama just kept going at it. But yeah, it was probably my least favorite match of the night. Well, definitely my least favorite match of the night, but I still think it was a good match, and I personally think it's probably my favorite Fale match of the tournament. So yeah. Second match was Togi Makabe versus Hangman Page. This is a really fun match. They had a really hot, quick start. They were throwing each other everywhere. And one of my notes is that Hangman's offense, man, it just looks so much better. And it's even compared to the start of this tournament, especially even against a guy like Makabe, his forearms now have a clap on them that they didn't used to have. He's got his punches are looked better when they're thrown. His forearm strikes are so good, but when he throws those forearms, they have a clap that they didn't used to have. They used to be kind of like Okada forearms, where that's of course the one drawback of Okada is his forearms aren't the best. His punches look weak, and Hangman kind of had that, and now they got a clap to him. Like they're looking good. He looks crisp. He just looks like a superstar now. Of course, he hits that unbelievable deadlift. I don't even know what to call it, like hanging suplex or rolling drop or whatever with the bridge. It's just he keeps doing it on bigger and bigger people. And so to do the full deadlift from the ground and flip him over on a guy like Makabe is just insanely impressive. They had really good momentum trades throughout. There was points where Hangman would get his offense in, and then Makabe would taunt him in, and then Hangman would fall for it, then Makabe would get the upper hand, and then Page would fight back and get hit. So I liked the especially for a 9-minute match, it had really good momentum shifts. Of course, both these guys, especially now, Makabe's always kind of known for it, but Page has gotten, again, so much better at throwing lariats that their lariat trades were unbelievable. They were smacking each other. And then, of course, the finishing sequence was really good, and Hangman gets thrown onto the apron, counters a move that Makabe's going for, and then Makabe's going to run off the ropes and hit him, and Hangman does a beautiful buckshot lariat and nearly takes Makabe's head off, and then picks him up and finally hits the rite of passage and gets the pin. It was a huge win for him. Finally his first singles victory, I think. His first actual singles victory by pinfall ever in New Japan, which is huge. I mean, that's especially over a guy that's, I know he's an older vet, but I mean, he still won the G1. He's won the heavyweight title. I mean, that's a huge win. And to beat him in 9 minutes and look so good doing it, and he's just become so much more of a complete wrestler through this tournament that it's awesome to see. And I'm so excited for his future. I mean, for his potential tag league appearance, potential G1 next year. His ROH run's going to be nice. I mean, they're going to use him so much now that he's proven himself in the G1, that it's potential, splintering off and joining and being under the tutelage of Tanahashi, as said in that their post-match interview. It's his trajectory is and his ceiling is just sky high right now. It's awesome to see. And this was definitely this is probably my third favorite match of the night. The third match was Jay White versus Yoshihashi. Of course, throughout their tag match, where it was Jay and I believe Yo versus Yoshihashi and Sho. Jay didn't want to fight. He said, "All right, I'll just lay down. One of you guys pin me. We'll just get this over with, and we'll have our match tomorrow." They didn't. None of them. The other three didn't want to do it. So, Jay is getting all pissy about it, and so the start of this match was very storyline driven with Jay talking shit about it didn't have to be this way as he's beating up and chopping Yoshihashi, which I thought was really good. It was different than the other matches because usually they all start off technically, and then this one actually had a storyline that had built into it. So it was and to actually audibly hear the storyline playing out was really nice to hear. Of course, at one point, Jay just keeps throwing Yoshihashi into the announcers, into Kevin and Rocky, and both of them just did an excellent job of getting heat on Jay. Especially Kevin. Kevin sounded legitimately pissed off. At one point he yells, "You're going to take us off," or he said, "You already take us off the air 3 goddamn times," and he's yelling at Jay. Jay's right there. And then Jay just shushes him as he's getting back in the ring. It's just, and Rocky, who's in his stable, in the same stable, is just saying, "I'm tired of the BS," and especially even after the match, yelled that at him. And they were just so good at getting. It's not like he really needed the help, but really someone even the commentators, the English commentators, just don't like him. One of them's even in his own stable and doesn't like him, and it just helps to solidify him more as a heel. I thought it was great, and it really added to the match. Yoshihashi, when he got his offense in, he was good. He actually played the underdog babyface role well, which is new for him because I don't think this match would have worked as well without how well Yoshihashi has done this tournament. Because his big thing is if he tries to play like this underdog babyface, he's never connected with the crowd, and so he tries to play this big fiery, doing the fiery comeback, and no one really cares. But this tournament, he's seemed to click somehow with the audience, and now people care about him. So now he's getting his his big fiery comeback. He's pumping up the crowd, and the crowd's into it. They want him to win, and that match just worked so well because of that. It was great. The crowd just really wanted a Yoshihashi win, which was, I think it just comes down to also Jay just being such a good heel, but Yoshi's finally starting to connect with the fans, and just throughout this tournament has turned into an even better performer. And so it's really nice to see kind of even him, a guy that's like I think I heard on commentary, the guys were on against Okada. They came back at the same time from Excursion, which was Wrestle Kingdom 6. This has now been 6.5 years back for him, and he's finally now starting to connect. So even, a guy that's been back for 6 years still has something to learn and can still prove something. And so it's really nice to see that. Of course, at one point, Jay gets a low blow off of a ref bump onto Yoshihashi, but doesn't work. Yoshi kicks out, or counters the Blade Runner, and then eventually Jay counters a move into the Blade Runner and gets the win. So Jay moves up to 10 points because now he's at 5 wins, and he's still very much in contention, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. Yoshihashi, of course, is 1-6. He's at 2 points. I hope he gets another win before the tournament ends because I think he's kind of earned it at this point. And that match was probably my fourth favorite, but it was very close to the Hangman Makabe match. I do think the Elgin Foley match is pretty low as my least favorite, and then the third and fourth are pretty close to being together, so they're both really good. Of course, the semifinal match was Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Evil. I thought this was a great match. Evil showed me a lot this match that I don't think I'd seen even this tournament. He's had some good matches, and I just haven't seen this side of him. They had just a solid fundamental opening. Just real basic chain wrestling, just New Japan style opening for like a tournament match. And there was actually finally some focus on, of course Tanahashi's kind of had these injury problems and whatnot. He has the bad arm, he has the bad left shoulder, he has the bad right knee, and Evil actually picked out his arm to target. So they had that bicep tear, and so he picked that to target and was really going after it, which I thought was good, because a lot of people really just like to go for his knee or just him in general and just try to beat him up, and so actually focusing on the arm I thought was at least different from what most people are trying to go for in this tournament. But yeah, I thought the match was really solid. The selling was really good by both guys throughout. Evil was throwing in some brutal offense. Like, it looked rough to take. Some of those lariats were just, they were smacking. Tana was hitting that mat hard. and some of his other matches, he takes his bumps like he knows how that kind of limit him. And man, it didn't seem like he had a choice with some of these. He was getting slammed down. So that's credit to Tanahashi for taking those. Of course, it came down to the finish of Tanahashi at the crossbody high fly flow, went for the finish, missed it, and then eventually hits a sling blade back into, or no, he hits everything is Evil. That's right. He hit Evil's finisher on him, and then went and hit the high fly flow for the finish. I really liked the finish. I thought that was great because it even played into the second match or into the main event a little bit with the move stealing. But yeah, definitely second favorite match of the night. Evil looked great. Of course, that Evil's now at 8 points, and Tanahashi has the tiebreaker over him, and there's no way for Evil to win now, so Evil's officially eliminated from contention. Which, hey, it's the guy's having a great tournament, really. He's gonna have a great tournament probably every year he's in it. He might not win a block. He might win a block here or there, but he's gonna have a great tournament every time. Of course, Tanahashi 6-1, 12 points, leading the block. Great position to take it. But definitely, they had a great match, and definitely second favorite of the night for me. Now we get down to the main event, which of course is Kazuchika Okada versus Minoru Suzuki. I love Suzuki to death, and Okada's. I love watching Okada work. So, and watching these guys' last single match from. If you guys are newer to New Japan, they actually had a heavyweight title match back in January of 2017. So I definitely would recommend checking it out. Suzuki was not even a month back into the company yet, and it already had a title match, and it was brutal. And then last year they had a G1 match that ended in a draw, which led to Okada against Kenny, and Kenny getting the big win over him, and so Okada couldn't make it out of the block. And then I think this is now their first singles match since that match last year, and it was just as brutal. Of course, I love the start, which of course is Suzuki gets introed, Okada gets introed, throwing the balloons around. As soon as he steps to the rope, Suzuki just says fuck it and starts just attacking him and throws him out of the ring, throws him against the guardrail, takes him into the crowd, is pulling barricades left and right, like he's throwing half the barricade onto Okada, gets a chair, smacks the barricade, throwing him into the crowd. I think it was already the 5-minute mark by the time they even got in the ring, and the match had already technically started. It was just, I just loved the insanely quick start on it. The match essentially is to the story for the first 10 minutes. It's just a brutal assault on Okada. Suzuki's just pounding away, locking in submissions, tearing away, just hitting PKs and just demolishing him. And then about the 10-minute mark, Okada starts getting some offense in, and he's not holding back. I mean, some of those, like I said earlier, his forearms are pretty weak, but he's got a good uppercut, and he was nailing some uppercuts. I guess he decided to let loose a little bit in this match, which was nice to see, because I think sometimes he can hold back. But those uppercuts, you could see the sweat flying off Suzuki, which is nice. This is an 18-minute match, and it's fucking exhausting to watch. I mean, you just feel tired watching this match because both of them are just pounding each other, and they're both just getting worn down and sluggish because they're just beat up, and it makes you feel tired, which in a way is not, it's not great, but it makes you feel tired in the sense that you relate to the wrestlers, not that it's a boring match. But I just kept going, God, like it felt so long, and for it to only be an 18-minute match is pretty crazy. And then of course it comes down to the very end. They're going for finisher trades, and then eventually Okada locks in a sleeper, and then goes for a Gotch-style pile driver to try and steal Suzuki's move. And then Suzuki counters that into a sleeper, and then tries to go for a pile driver, which Okada counters into, or no, he tries to go for a tombstone, which Okada counters into his own tombstone, and as Suzuki's fighting, does the Gotch-style tombstone, which I thought was great. Of course, nails it after he's already hit one tombstone earlier, now hits the Gotch-style tombstone, and then picks up Suzuki and hits the Rainmaker for the big win. It's just a great finish and a great match. Definitely match of the night, my favorite match of the night. Okada is now at 10 points. Suzuki's at 8, but I believe with all the tiebreakers that worked out, especially losing to Okada and Suzuki, or Okada and Tanahashi, Suzuki's now eliminated. Unfortunate. Of course, I would have loved to see him sneak in and win the A block, but yeah, that's it. That's it for the matches tonight. Of course, now there's 2 days left of competition for the A block. And there's 3 guys left in contention, which is Tanahashi, Okada, and Jay White. Of course, I think White's got a little bit easier road as far. Let me actually check real quick. I think so. If we go to August 5th, which is their next day, he has Makabe, which he can easily sneak a win into, and then on the final night, he actually has Evil. So he has a decent shot of winning out. He could easily win out and end up at 14 points. Whereas Tanahashi has Elgin, which they always have great matches. Of course, they're both kind of banged up right now. Actually, I say they always have great matches. I actually don't know if they've had a match before. They always have great matches against other people, and so together, and Elgin kind of being a mentor in a way, or Tanahashi being a mentor to Elgin in a way, could be a really good match. But there's a way Elgin can sneak a win out, especially because he's got nothing to lose, being already out of the tournament. And of course, Okada and Evil, they're gonna kill it. They had just a phenomenal G1 match last year. Their title match was a little underwhelming, but the G1 match is phenomenal. So I'm hoping good things for them. And then of course we come down to the final night of Okada and Tanahashi. And I think someone had put a Reddit post out today. I'm recording this on the night of the 3rd, so here in an hour and a half it will start day 14 actually. Someone had put out a post. Essentially they had done all the math and if the math worked out, of course Okada Tanahashi will face off in that A block final, and it will it's going to decide the block. There's no question at this point it will decide the block. But there's ways that the points could work out to where if Jay White wins out, he's at 14, and then Tanahashi's at 14 because he's already at 12 if he wins his next one. All he would have to do is just have a draw and he would beat Jay, and Okada would be at 12 as well, because him and Jay would both be at 12. And then if Jay wins it, then the final night he'd have 14. Tanahashi had 14. Okada would have 12. Because if Jay wins that last match and gets to 14, he has officially eliminated Okada from winning the G1 or from winning the block. And there's a chance that Okada would then be wrestling with the back of his mind being, okay, do I try to beat Tanahashi, my greatest rival on the only stage I've ever beat him at, and in so sending my, the guy that's trying to trying to throw me out of Chaos leadership into the final because Jay White has the tiebreaker over both Okada and Tanahashi, and so White would be in the final because of that. Or do I, just try to have a draw or potentially lose to Tanahashi so Jay can't make it to the finals, but then I still wouldn't have beat Tanahashi on the G1 stage. So it creates a real complex story that I'm excited to see plays out. Of course, it could be completely fucking ruined if Jay loses the next night and then Okada wins, and so now Jay's behind and there's no way for him to catch up at that point, unless actually at that point, and Tanahashi wins and it would just completely be over with. But I would love to see that scenario come down. But of course that means you either have to commit to either Tanahashi or Jay White going through to the final, which if you want Okada to win, he obviously has to win the block. But that would be such an interesting story that I would be so ready for. Of course, B block's now down to Omega, Ibushi, and Naito, and there's so many tiebreakers and scenarios in that match, especially considering tonight we have Ishii and Kenny versus, and then we have Naito, Ibushi, which they're going to try and kill each other. If you guys didn't see their match last year where they tried to murder each other, they're probably going to happen again. And Ishii, Kenny have one of the greatest singles feud. If Kenny didn't have this legendary series with Okada, then his legendary series would be with Ishii. So I'm looking forward to another great installment in that saga for them. But that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys so much if you've made it to this point. Please share and subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. I'm trying to pump these out as best I can. Of course, I'm actually recording this before the night or the day 14 show, so I'm actually going to be on time and actually be ahead of things for once. So I'm looking forward to day 14. Of course, great card, great final two matches. They're going to be insane. But yeah, again, thank you so much, and I will see you again in the next video for day 14 review.